Certainly is, Jonathan. I do agree that the Decrep Avalanche Toss combo it's going to be quite a painful experience, I'm sure, here, though we'll see how it all pans out, as we do have a Shadow Demon pickup coming out. I guess it's one way to kind of negate that amount of damage, John. Just go for the Disruption, mid-Avalanche or mid-Toss, and you could generally get rid of most of the damage if you can. So nice little pickup there from NGX.SEA. Just a bit of a defensive position 5 to come out. Fair enough. Where do Army Geniuses want to go with their own draft, though? Do they want to keep going down the broken route, John? Do we want to go for like a Husker pickup right now? Well, what else is broken in this current patch? DP, is that available? It's not. It was banned out. But you get my point, John. We can get real broken if we need to.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind something like, say, the Azura Ember or Azura Storm. Storm Pugna could be one way to go. You know, we've seen that topping up, just double, triple null, go in and out, just go back into the fight every single time with your Pugna support. And that could be one way. Again, that's assuming a pause 5 Pugna. Pause 3, not as willing to go for that refill play. You know, you don't necessarily go Tranquils on the offlane, so it's a harder sell for that combination, but it's still a possibility there for AG. One thing as well with NGX going for that Shadow Demon, Mike, it is a way to deal with Tiny, not just with the disruption, but that Demotic Purge makes it really easy to kite Tiny around. We see that as a consistent issue for Tinies if they are in a pause 1, right? Like you're never able to gap close. There's still a lot of ranged heroes left here for In Your Dream to play with on a core-to-core matchup. And you also have a way of dealing with the decrep, like the Shard of Shadow Demon, giving you that option to just clear out all the negative debuffs on an ally, means that disarm effect's not going to be a big issue for IYD as well, or any core that wants to keep hitting. So it's a great solution from NGX.
I was going to say, sure, John, I feel like Shadow Demon, Ags, Shard, and Aghanims itself, it might be one of the best combinations of any hero. If you think about how they just work together, right? Like the Shards gives you the cleanse, and then the Ags gives you 3 charges of said cleanse. I really like the synergy, I've got to say. Props to Valve for that one. I do appreciate how they actually synergize, which I thought would be what would happen when Shards initially came out, is they would synergize with the Aghanim Scepter build-up of said hero. That's not so much the deal with most heroes, John, but I just wanted to point out Shadow Demon does have, you know, Shards and Ags that actually synergizes with each other, and I appreciate that. I think it's very nice.
Yeah. It is very nice. It's nice when all of it lines up together, Mike. And that is just how Shadow Demon is such a good hero right now. I think it's one of the more underutilized pause 5s. I mean, we see it here and there, but it is really just, it just gives you so much in these engagements. AG do take up the Treant Protector, so that, again, that's signaling that our Pugna is going to be off lane, and likely our Tiny in a pause 4, waiting for that safe lane here for DB. Whereas for Enigma Galaxy, straight into the TA. This is an Alacrity special. They can run it for In Your Dream on the safe lane, though. So there is a lot of flex here for NGX, and they could do perhaps even Alacrity mid-Pugna, and something like the safe lane TA with last pick for Mizu. A lot of possibilities for NGX to keep their lanes open, and they already know the mid matchup. If it is Void Spirit up against TA mid, feels fairly comfy for a TA. Void Spirit doesn't have the best ways to burn through Refraction. You are up against a range versus melee matchup, which the TA can play around with fairly decently, although range matchups tend to line up a little bit more with the radius of your Psyblade, so it can maybe be a bit more challenging if you position yourself right, but still TA favored. And again, NGX is just lining up with a draft that they're very comfy with. They have a big win condition they can farm up for now and just kind of stall around with your 3 heroes on hand at the moment.
Well, they certainly could. AG, they'll go for the Batrider ban out. We'll see 2 more come out from either side before we can continue with these drafts. NGX, currently just getting rid of those position 1s. It always surprises me when you see a Tiny pickup, but it's not going to be a position 1. Just kind of weirds me out a little bit. I guess for Army Geniuses, nothing's really confirmed yet, though. Like, you could still run the Tony Pos 1 and just throw something else in the Pos 4 role. Like the Pugna, for example, if you wanted to. AG, final pickup. What do we actually want? I mean, it feels like a draft with no real stun right now, apart from maybe the Tiny. It feels like you'd rather go the Pos 1 Tiny and maybe go for another offlane that actually offers you an additional stun here. Some kind of setup, some kind of initiation, because right now, it feels like you're very heavily reliant on this Void Spirit just being able to initiate every time, and there you go. They'll go for the Beastmaster. I think that's the right idea, John. I think that's the way to play it. I just feel like if you didn't go for another offlane, with a stun to set up. I don't know. How are you going to hold anyone down? So now with the Beastmaster, you've got that wrap potential. You and I have been talking about it a lot in Eastern Europe. Helm of the Dominator, take the Harpy Scout creep, use your Hawk of the Beastmaster so you just have the whole map worth of vision, because that's how broken the Harpy Scout is right now. Or you could just not. You could just go straight into the Helm of the Overlord and pick up an Ancient and just go from there. But it certainly feels like semi-zoo meta is kind of back in the meta right now for Dota 2. NGX.SEA though, how do they want to respond?
I mean, they don't have too many ways of dealing with Beastmaster itself in their draft. At the same time, you were talking about hold. You're picking Beastmaster into the Shadow Demon already, so you already have that very good save on the side of NGX. I don't think it's going to be a massive issue. The offlane will be annoying though, with say something like the Pugna on the 4. Pugna Beastmaster lane's pretty annoying. Treant Beastmaster lane's also really annoying, so either combination is going to be a bit of a challenge for In Your Dream. He does still have a couple of his ranged cores left. I am surprised again that NGX did ban out the Terrorblade themselves. Drow is an option if they want to. Drow TA is a pretty solid combination. Aura works really well on TA, so you can just kind of play with that. It could be a little bit greedy having these two big farming heroes on hand, but you do have scalability in comparison to AG, where most of their scaling is really going to be on that Tiny. And again, Drow gives you a good answer for that. They will go with a Kunkka instead, so that should be our In Your Dream hero on the safe lane. Alacrity on that farming mid this time around. And I like it when NGX does shift gears like that. You know, we've seen In Your Dreams Kunkka multiple times. It does tend to perform to a very, very high level. And he takes a more active position, allowing Alacrity to farm up, allowing him to play greedier with a 4 heroes on hand to do that for the TA here. I think AEG's got to watch themselves. Yeah, they have strong push. Yes, they have these early timings, but if they don't line up their movement, and if somehow DB starts to lag a bit behind in farm, we've seen TAs win that matchup when the farm disparity grows wider.
Yeah, and I also appreciate the fact that you can just get these players to switch up the actual carry. I think in this current meta as well, the mid lane's just so important that you can just run like a mid TA and just allow it to carry for you and just run something as a pos 2 in the safe lane rather. Very reminiscent. It reminds me of the old Neon days, right? When Skem used to just jump in as pos 1 sometimes, even Boom Esports. Sometimes you see Jackie taking a Kunkka and say giving your Paj the mid TA to carry on. Very reminiscent of those kind of teams, and I do appreciate that from NGX.SEA. Obviously, we've seen the Kunkka TA coming out before from this team, and I think we can be quite confident they're probably going to be pretty good with this combination. But tell me about it, John. I mean, you've got the 2 drafts right in front of you right now. Who do you think came out with the better draft overall?
It's a toughie. I think they both kind of drew even in terms of drafting. I would give a slight edge for Enigma Galaxy. I just feel like Shadow Demon's a very, very scary hero to go against for a Tiny to deal with. You know, the purges are going to be big. The Ag shard timing, the Ags is going to be super important for NGX. But once they have that up, AG don't have the best ways of dealing with it. Their only backline jump's really just going to be Azura on that Void Spirit. And you could argue the Void Spirit doesn't have too many things to hold him down, but you still have enough setup there to kind of get done. X-Mark, you've got the Disruption to set up, Hoodwink to follow through, and it's not going to be the comfiest time to hunt for that backline save. And as long as your positioning's really on point here for NGX, for Boomboy on his Shadow Demon, then you have all the options in the world to cut off that initiation. Roar, Disruption. You know, you see the Tiny, Demonic Purge. You just kind of handle those heroes that way, and suddenly, even if AG has all that vision coming out from the Beastmaster, Mike, they just don't have the heroes to really jump in once that control is set.
They certainly don't. So we do have an immediate pause coming out for game 1, which, you know, it's SEA tradition. Gonna have this happening straight away as the day starts. Fair enough. I have to wait a little bit to get into this game number 1, as I'm not even aware of what the problem is right now. Did anyone actually say what the issue was?
No, but we do see all chat in your dream doing the hashtags Varish Anak Pantay vlog. I think Varish went out somewhere. I saw his Instagram stories. He was on vacation, having a great time. So in your dream, just a little bit of banter between the countrymen. You don't tend to see that too often. In your dream tends to be a very quiet guy. But there you go. And we will get into it. Parish Nibos. I wish I knew, but I believe Pantai is a place. So Parish was vacationing, living it up. did tell him when he got into lobby, it's time to get off break. He posted a picture of Dota 2 and he was like, back to reality on Instagram. Oh, come on, Varish. This is it. This is the dream. What do you mean? Vacations?
Literally.
No. You're a gamer. You stay here, you play that Dota 2.
Absolutely. You get into that basement and you sweat your ass off for 14 hours a day. That's what you do. That is the actual dream. I can't believe players complain about coming back to playing Dota after taking a holiday. Like, go get a 9-to-5 job for a month. See how much you like it. Let me tell you, it's not very fun. Let me tell you. You'd be back to Dota instantly.
Oh, yeah. Like, I know you're speaking from personal experience there, Mike.
I am.
Those were some heady times. I remember those days, Mike. I'm not sure if chat will, but those were some days.
I could have been a pro player once, Jonathan, back in Dota All-Stars. I'm telling you right now.
Let's calm down. Let's calm down, Mike.
No, hold on a minute, Jonathan.
Let's calm down a bit. Yeah.
No, hold on. The high school mate that introduced me to this game, I told him a long time ago, dude, we could probably make a pro team, right? Because back in Dota All-Stars, John, this is way early on, right? You could... The teams weren't that good, right? Like, they honestly weren't that good, right? So you could, especially in the Australian scene, you could kind of jump in and, I reckon I could have done it. Never happened though, John. Sadly. 2 bounty runes aren't going to go the way of AG, NGX.SEA. They'll be able to get 2 themselves. You never have any confidence in me, Jonathan.
Look, Mike. Look, I know why you think you could have been a pro back then. You must have built like 6 wraith bands on your hero, 6 bracers, and now that's the meta. I get it. You were 10 years ahead, 20 years ahead of the meta, Mike. But it's not like anyone knew that would be coming. Still focusing on actual pros here, Mike, and seeing lanes break out. Where are we looking, Mike? I'm not sure.
Bottom lane.
I'm blind, after all.
Bottom lane.
Bot lane, you've got Virij and DB on that Pugna and Tiny. So that combination's still there. Again, with a safe lane Tiny, though, you're not looking for too much of that decrep amping up, because you will focus on the tree grab, want to focus on that CS. Mizu has his work cut out for him. Varish is doing a great job of just leveraging his right-click damage, running up. Really good move speed on Pugna to harass out. Jokam just getting the pulse off while he can. Hoodwink Pango is strong. It does feel like that really needs level 3 on both heroes, likely level 4 when you get the double shield crash up on the Pango to really do some good damage. So we'll see how much they can get done. And you have to remember, up against Pugna on the pause 5, you do tend to max out that Nether Ward, so your spell damage will shoot down anyway.
It's one of those things. I appreciate what Jokam's doing as well, just kind of pulling the creep wave over so he can secure his own level 2 and fix the creep equilibrium in this bottom lane, but it's so rough against the Pugna. It's one of those things, like, he's got huge attack range, he's got great base damage, he's got a good attack animation, and on top of that, if you try to attack back, he can always just drop the ward and end up nether blasting you every single time. It's a really hard position 5 to go against here, and for Jokam, he is doing the right thing by just completely avoiding the Pugna altogether. But while we have a chance, we'll have a look at the other lanes as well. Of course, mid lane, Azura against Alacrity. So far, it's a pretty rough time for Azura. Alacrity just constantly getting the meld strikes in here onto this Void Spirit. And sadly for Azura, there's just not really much he can do about it.
No, it's not a great lane for the Void Spirit. Probably one of the worst Spirit Brothers up against that TA. No way to burn through Refraction. You don't have the best base armor, so if a Meld Strike does go through on this melee hero not too hard, you cop a lot in the harassment. And this is a good setup for NGX. Again, their TA is going to be the win condition. For Azura, the best he can do is just ensure he has good rune control. Even that's tough.
Yeah, barely surviving. Fairy Fire will be used up, but Alacrity, he just has complete control of this lane, and Azura, he has no choice but to stick around and keep soaking XP, but he's going to be very wary of the side blades that could fly out. Luckily, he does at least have his bottle up now. Kind of fight over the water runes and maybe the power runes as well. So Alacrity does seem like he'll just continue dominating the mid laners. Look at that. Another meld strike, more damage to fly out. Azura already out of bottle charges, might need someone to TP in and fill that up for him. But while we have a second, John, we'll look at the top lane as well. Of course, In Your Dream and Boom Boy going to be against Wami, and you're going to have Narman there as well on the tree and Protector. Of course, Boom Boy kind of on his debut here for NGX.SEA as Polison was removed. What do you think, John, this top lane? Do you feel like one side should have the advantage or the other?
It's a pretty oppressive lane for Kunkka. It's a melee matchup up against Beastmaster, so the boars are always going to be annoying. Of course, you always have the Tidebringers to threaten those boars, but Narman's doing a great job of just preventing Boomboy from building up. He invades the jungle, he drops this forward ward, he scouts out stacks, he ensures that even if you start building up here for Inner Dream or Alacrity to farm, you have the vision to contest, and you have the heroes to contest, and there's not too much aggression coming through from the side of NGX. I mean, we're seeing Narman and Boomboy go at it. This is not a great time for Narman if the stack's built up.
He missed the Shadow Poison.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have gone for that kill had you kept stacking them. He had a mango available, but he missed the third one. But maybe just a bit of a misclick, a little bit unfortunate.
It can be tricky when, you know, a big tree's twacking away at you melee range. You can sidestep pretty easily, especially by the tree line. And you have to respect that right click from Narman.
Yeah, you got to respect the right click and the slow from the boars, John. It's quite painful as Boomboy still surviving Narman. He can't go for the dive, so Boomboy barely going to survive. Will salve himself up here on the Shadow Demon, but already rough days here. At least for In Your Dream, he's farming very well on the Kunkka, though. You know, Wami, he is playing Beastmaster, but against the Tidebringer of the Kunkka, it's a bit hard to keep those balls alive. In fact, it does feel like you're going to be feeding a lot of them back the way of In Your Dream, so you're going to be very careful if you are Wami. Still, it does seem like NGX.SEA are pretty much dominating every single lane apart from the bot lane. But both the mid and top lane have gone their way. You see Varish, Jokam going at it, but Jokam, his main priority, of course, is going to be just stacking that Ancient. Right now, there's DB and Mizu. They'll go at it down a bot lane. Get Mizu, he hasn't had the greatest time in the world, but he is certainly getting to that point now where he can start contesting the Tiny. It seems like he should be able to catch up in CS quite nicely now.
It's that spike we were looking for, level 4, level 2 shield crash, level 2 swash. You've got a lot more to pump out up against that Tiny. Of course, every single time Varish is around, another word will take away the bite of your spell. It's just a little bit more, but you can apply that pressure, and you're kind of setting up for your team. Even if you're not finding as much farm on Mizu, he's still having a better time than Wami overall, and it's as you said, the big lanes for NGX to win out on are being won anyway. Alacrity's just completely uncontested, ×2 to CS of Azura. That's concerning for Iron Geniuses. This TA, sure, you might have scouted out some of the jungle stacks in the top jungle, you block out the Ancients, the large camps are still there, there are still stacks, it is still a Shadow Demon, so multiple camps being built up is no problem. And once that flash farm comes through, Alacrity's looking for really quick timing into that Deso Dragonlance that you tend to see TAs go for.
Yeah, he's going to be huge. Alacrity, no problems whatsoever as Azura still struggling quite a bit. Like, look at the CS difference, John. He's literally doubling the CS of Azura. We're only 6.5 minutes in and he's literally over double the CS in this mid lane. Narman has to show up, and you saw earlier Varish was also there. Both supports just feeling like they need to stick by Azura, but while they do that, Wami, he's just going to get dived. NGX.SEA, they can appreciate the supports rotating, but it's going to cost them first blood. Spoonboy, he does drop. In Your Dream, he'll be chased down here by Azura, but they've got to go for the Aether Remnant. In Your Dream, still dropping low, is going to go down. So they are still able to punish Azura with a very nice rotation on the Void Spirit. Does actually get quite a bit of gold out of that, and that's going to be very nice for him considering how that mid lane went.
Yeah, it's a good amount of catch-up to have. I just am concerned that's not the gear to be focused on. Kunkka already feels like it got the start it needed to. Phase boots up, Armlet not too far off in the build-up. You have to kind of commit for that TA, and that should be where the emphasis is while everyone's playing elsewhere. You have to punish Alacrity, you have to invade that jungle, but again, with the vision game of NGX, with the heroes they have, this is a lot easier said than done. And you are starting to find yourself in this position now for AG where you need to get into that timing now. You have to hit level 6 in Wami, you have to get that Dominator up, you've got to be able to focus in as 4 and push the objectives, buying space for DB, and they might get that done. A bit of a smoke out here from AG.
Definitely so, but where are they going? I mean, you'd love to snipe that TA in the mid lane. Problem is, Boomboy, he's going to break the smoke. So you do go in for a kill, you might find the SD. I suppose for Azura, he'll still be happy with that. He gets a power rune, a double damage, and he'll get another kill onto the SD. Yeah, sure, it's not the TA, but now you can infiltrate the Dire jungle. And Azura, he'll be even happier seeing all these stacks. And it doesn't seem like anyone's going to be around to contest these. They're going to TP in now to try and take him away from Azura. Is in your dream. He's going to show up. Boat already up, but Wami, he'll go for a roar out on the Beastmaster. Looks like Mizu, he is going to eventually connect the stun onto the Beast as they will actually clear out the camps at the same time. Wami, he'll cop it for the team. And sadly for AG, they are not going to be able to get the stacks they wanted. In your dream, he'll be the one to take them himself.
Yeah, I think they're very fortunate that In Your Dream doesn't have as many levels yet on X Mark, still level 8 on Kunkka, so the range to catch out someone like Azura wasn't quite there, but if he did manage to catch out, get the X Mark up, Azura might have been the one to die, and that's a bigger kill. Again, the momentum needs to come out from Void Spirit. Beastmaster's already kind of set, but look at the mid. It's already down to less than half HP just with Alacrity shoving in, getting his farm up. This TA is still the massive issue. They are scouting out the right spots, but again, not putting a dent in that TA. The timings just feel like it's going to be overwhelming, and I guess at the end of the day, you will have the Crep to deal with TA to an extent. But again, Shadow Demon nullifies that. By the time you hit the 15-minute mark, Boomboy will have that cleanse.
That he will. We'll see if Boomboy does opt for the cleanse at 15, but I do agree. I mean, there's a hell of a lot of value here against the Pugna, that's for sure. Alacrity now clearing out that triangle, just escalating in farm. We'll have the Dragonlance up rather soon. Again, even with those kills on Azura, he's still very far behind in net worth, still just half the net worth of Alacrity. Very nice call though, Joe Cam. Unable to lock him down. Azura gonna find the second power rune now of the Invis. You look at that mid tier 1 tower though, John, it's already so darn low. The siege creep is gonna be on the way now, and NGX.SEA, they're gonna group up. They understand how powerful they are at the moment. And with the siege creep, they should have absolutely zero problem getting this tier 1 mid tower down, and that's just gonna open the map for NGX.SEA. Allow that further aggression. Azura is going to stick around and try to help in clearing the creep wave, but the bushwhack is there from Joe Cam. There won't be any follow-up though. They just want the tier 1 mid tower. Alacrity, he'll be able to pick it up no problem. Znarman, even showing up with the overgrowth available, might have to throw it out, but doesn't. He holds out instead. So DB rotates for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, it's a bit of a loss in time here for DB, but he is just sort of playing the jungle. He does miss out on a lot of CS down, but at least for AG, they are managing to get a shove up top. Varish not quite leveled up on the Nether Blast. Again, as a support Pugna, he wants some utility here.
DB can't beat here, John. I don't think this is the smartest idea for DB. You just saw them in the mid lane. They just took your tier 1 tower. Oh, he's been caught out. I don't know how he gets out of this one. Even missing with the Tumblr's Toy mid-roll. Why the hell not? They'll get the Tiny down as the rotations come in from Azura. He's going to try and clean up at least one, it seems. And luckily for him, there's no sentry wards placed down from NGX.SEA. They'll be able to walk out. They will not get the Void, but they already got the Tiny. And again, DB, I feel like he should have known not to be down to that bot tier 1 tower.
Yeah, Tati just play in the jungle, clear out some camps, you know, take what farm he can, back off, maybe start playing top with the rest of his team. Does get punished for that greedier play, and NGX find himself in a very strong position now, like 3-3, 12 minutes in, 4K lead up, TA and Kunkka just finding all the farm that you can, just really hitting that critical mass point where you can't really stop a Kunkka when the boat buff is up. With the armlet, it's just going to be impossible to burst. You don't have the biggest burst damage on hand. It's not like, again, that you're going for tiny avalanche toss. It is a core pause 1 tiny, so the emphasis on that is on that farm. And they are, again, getting some good push up top here with Beastmaster and, you know, the Pug not a while ago, and they have managed to shove in, start to invade that jungle, cutting off some sources of income. But NGX, with the objectives they have, just play bot. And they can just go hunting, smoke up here.
They're very strong right now. Vrish going to be spotted out, so Mizu immediately in with the Rolling Thunder and the Sharpshooter. That'll be Vrish gone. No problem. Not the greatest kill, but NGX.SEA, they're just looking to get aggressive. Every single time Rolling Thunder's off cooldown, you may as well just go. You know Army Geniuses just can't fight you right now. Wami, even with the roar up, he just knows he can't commit to the fight. And you have these supports as well that are quite passive here on AG, John. Like, you've got Dream Protector and Pugna. It's not the greatest amount of follow-up damage here for Wami.
Not the greatest amount of follow-up damage, not even the greatest way of setting up for one. You know, it's like you get the roar off, and what do you really do? They just don't synergize all too well. It does depend on their tiny hitting critical mass themselves and coming in. Before that point, like your 3 cores, your 4 heroes running around with your 2 supports, it's just not the most amazing.
DB, I don't know, you can't be here. He's gonna try for the TP out. Is he gonna make it? No. Oh, In Your Dreams got him. Bushwhack out. Sharpshooter's gonna be there. Joe Cam's got the tiny. No issue whatsoever. DB will buy a bit of time. Narman, he's trying to move in, but it's too late. In Your Dream gonna try and make his way out now. They do have more rotating. Maybe they can secure at least the Kunkka. Zazura, he should have plenty of damage. In Your Dream gonna have to armor toggle and he can't do it. He will drop. They do at least punish very nicely on AG's end of things. It's Mizu, he's gonna rotate, but it is a bit too late. NGX.SEA have already been punished. But for them, as long as the TA's farming, I think they'll be happy. They're just keeping the tiny down.
Yeah, you really don't mind. You still manage to find a bigger pause one that needs to be slowing down from AG's end while keeping your own win condition winning. Again, you mentioned it in draft, but Kunkka is more of the playmaker here.
They at least find another Azura. Very nice setup, and Varish will take that kill. Just one of those things, John, is the tiny, you really can't show bot like that. Without the T1 tower around, your team can't get there in time to save you. And I was shocked as well, because I think, like, they've taken the top T1. You could just farm the top side of the map.
Yeah, they've got a lot of room there, but it's currently Wami taking all that space now. The investment in Beastmaster is nice. You will have that full Hump the Overlord soon, so the Ancient Creep's going to be in play. But coming at the cost of your tiny zone farm is not the ideal. And DB is going for the Blink Dagger as well. He's not rushing the Shard. He's not rushing the Shadow Blade. He wants that ability to jump in and help the team out. We'll see if it pays off. If you do not find those kills with a blink on tiny, it just feels like you're missing out on so much more farm. NGX full 5-man smoke. After they get killed, they could just go Roshan. In fact, they might just go Rosh with a DD on Alacrity anyway.
Well, he's definitely thinking about it. They're not going to find any targets around that top side of the map, so they are going to rush for the Rosh. AG may be aware of this. They have grouped up. They'll go for a 5-man smoke. It could be the turning point of the game here for Army Geniuses if they can make a nice jump in. Boom Boy, he'll be there to break the smoke. Immediate disruption on the tiny. They should find the Shadow Demon, and now with the Overgrowth, they'll hold Mizu down, but the Roshan is already gone as Azura barely gets himself out. At least for now, they'll have to drop Narman. They will not be able to contest Roshan. This Boom Boy, very nice positioning on the Shadow Demon to break the smoke, not allow them to jump into the pit.
And they force out the Overgrowth from Narman as well. So you are missing that big team fight hold. Your only wide AoE hold here from the side of AG. So these next few fights, a minute 10, you're not really going to be able to apply as much pressure onto the 5. And you just kind of have to split and farm. They are grouped up nicely though to catch Boom Boy again.
Yeah, disruption will be there, but it'll only delay the inevitable. He will drop eventually, that is. Zazur. Or
Huh?
yeah, okay, they still haven't got it. Boom Boy, he's getting chased, John, but In Your Dream's gonna try and save him. Boom Boy, oh, he's gonna purge the creep.
Oh, I mean, it works, Mike, right? Like, it looks silly, but he's alive.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Look, I think he had to purge it because In Your Dream blocked him for a second, right? He was within attack range of that Wild Wing Ripper against. He's like, In Your Dream, what have you done? I've got to use my ult for this. I don't want to die back. But look at the space that's made. My top tier 1 being shoved in by Alacrity. Deso up, we saw that come in the Roche. It doesn't take long for the TA to push as well. And we talked about AG strength being in the push. It's not showing up. And it's not like NGX or Slouch has had it with the TA either.
Certainly not. There goes the tier 1 top tower. In Your Dream, just getting almost getting revenge for Alacrity there against Boom Boy, I think, John. Or rather for Polison, excuse me. Alacrity. Still farming very nicely on this TA. 10k net worth now. Absolutely no issue. Moving into the BKB, there's just no contest for Alacrity. And, well, as this tiny, you're still going for the blink. In fact, you've got it up now. You've got to move with this. AG, do they have a smoke? Narman surely has one. No, apparently not.
All right.
So we've got to blink up, but we've got no way to force the fight. The blink time is
they've got
completely
vision.
wasted.
They've got the vision with these really good defensive wards. They only keep finding Booboy. It's just not the hero you want.
No, it's not, and the jump is there. Azura, he's going to avoid the bushwhack and just run. Maybe they can take the fight after the Rolling Thunder, as they are going to try perhaps. Mizu is forced to back off. DB, you've got the blink up. Do you want to jump in for a toss? Alacrity, he'll be spotted out. It's a great target. They've got to get the Aegis down first. Alacrity, he does get taken down. It's a great start. But can they survive the initial onslaught now from NGX.SEA as they move in? Wami, he'll go for the roar out. Disruption is going to save it. Azura, he'll jump in. A big avalanche out from DB, connecting on the whole team as they've got Alacrity down. It's a great team fight for AG as they can just keep moving in onto the Conquer. In Your Dreams gone. There goes Mizu on the Pango. One last hero alive here, and that's Jokam. He's going to try to run on the Hoodwink. And he might just make it out with the Scurry, though no, he's going to run the other way. DB's going to see him.
No.
That'll be a full...
What? No.
It will be a full team wipeout. Vrish gives the tips over to DB. Oh boy. So suddenly NGX.SEA, John, with a massive net worth lead, end up handing just about 3k gold the way of AG.
Yeah, they mistimed their initiation. It's hard to catch out of Void Spirit with your follow-through stunts with Disruption. He does have a lot of ways to slip out. And Azura, quick on the fingers, does manage to dodge, give that space to the team to come back in. NGX forced that fight really hard. Right, like they already expended a roll, they already expended a boat early on, and then they still choose to force themselves up into the high ground, get caught out, and suddenly AG finds themselves evening up the game. Despite playing against that Aegis, they equalized net worth. They're getting that build up they want on DB. The blinks paid off. He's going straight into the BKB now on our Tiny. And because of how sacrificial Boomboy has been, we're not going to see the Ags or the Ag Shard anytime soon, which is a cause of concern. That's the only way you have of really dealing with Tiny's BKB, and it's still going to be a long way until that's up.
Here we go. AG now feeling very confident. They'll go for the smoke up with the Helm of the Overlord timing, and Boomboy already breaking the smoke against AG, but AG, they can just keep going into the tier 2 mid tower. Helm of the Overlord timing is a very strong timing for the Beastmaster, and they are certainly looking to get that tier 2 mid down. And it seems like NGX.SEA, after that previous team fight, they may not want to try and force this. That last one was pretty rough, and if you end up losing this one, you might just lose tier 3 towers.
Yeah, just playing it safe, backing off, respecting that team fight now from the side of AG. Just waiting for a little bit more build-up. I think they'd want Alacrity to have his BKB up and running before anything else. So will In Your Dream. They're just waiting for those two BKBs to line up here. We're looking to force any bigger engages. Of course, AG does have great ways of going through spell immunity here, Mike. Overgrowth, Roar gives you great access anyway for these two cores. So there's a lot of pressure on Norman to still find some good overgrowths here.
There's an overgrowth right there, John. Catch Mizu, make sure he can't move. So Mizu, back the other way. Just chuck the U-turn. In AG, they're just kind of playing the patience game now. Just allowing DB that time to farm. And at the end of the day, even if he does go for this kind of blink build on the Tiny, he is still a Tiny, John. He's going to go for the BKB now, into the shards up next. And this is where things start to get very fun for DB. So AG should be able to move in very, very soon and try to force another fight. And NGX.SEA, they're the ones just trying to sit back and relax for now. Even with that net worth advantage, it's only by 2k. Perhaps, though, with the BKB up on In Your Dream, they might try to make a move. That is going to be into the Aghanim Scepter of Azura. It's going to be maybe a little bit of rough timing, but they might just have to go for it.
They've got to take advantage while they can. The side of NGX, again, still waiting out for their own BKBs to come up. You've got a really big opening here for the side of AG. They are clumping around top now, though, Mike, looking for that push in, perhaps just securing that next rush. Still a minute until we see that respawn. NGX doing the same, playing down bot. Of course, the push is a bit slower, despite the items on Alacrity. The living armor does slow it down a notch. And of course, it's only really Alacrity that can siege that fast. It's going to be looking like an equal trade. Again, much bigger for AG in enabling to take that outpost and setting up for the next Roche. NGX has to be cautious. They still have a slight lead here, not by much. They are in a very perilous spot as the high ground can begin here.
Rolling Thunder is going to be committed. Mizu, he'll roll right in onto DB. In Your Dream will be there with the follow-up. The Tiny, he's quite tanking. You've got Varish right behind to heal him right back up. They've got to deal with the Pugna. Boat is going to fly in. Mizu, he does take care of it. But the Tiny's going to be fine as now Azura. He snipes Spoonboy onto the rest. They've got the Hoodwink. That'll be Jokam gone. In Your Dream, he'll pop the BKB and try to keep this fight going, but they're going to drop Mizu. Azura, he's still willing to fight this one out as In Your Dream. He's out of that BKB timing. And Alacrity now going to get caught out on the Templar Assassin. He jumped right in. He'll pop his own BKB. Azura, he's the one to drop, but they've lost In Your Dream. Alacrity, he needs to get out of there before the BKB runs out. And he does. But they've lost 4 for 2. And AG, they can keep going for the top racks. No problem.
You've got to appreciate that positioning coming out from AG. Varish just in the right spot to keep that heal going on the Pugna. And the overgrowth from Narman to cut off the rolls, the initiations from NGX. And they don't manage to find more than tier 3, but you are seeing that pressure being applied onto NGX. And again, with a Tiny, you don't need to back off. With a Tiny Pugna, the push can just keep going.
Sharpshooter. Narman's going to cop it. Mizu going to jump in again. They want that tree in first. Narman, he's got the Ghost Scepter, or at least the Decrepify from Varish, so he's going to be just fine. Wami, he's the one being healed up though. Varish kind of leaves the tree alone. As Wami still getting stunned up. Decrep will be there, but he's still copping a hell of a lot of damage. But there's your life drain out once again. Jump in from the Void Spirit to boot, but it's not going to be enough. In fact, never mind. DB, he'll go another time, but Disruption is going to save the life of Mizu, at least for now. As DB, he needs to back off. In Your Dream, he'll come back in, but the boat will connect on nothing. As Alacrity will keep trying to move in, but is not going to find himself another target. So they still do clean up on the side of NGX.SEA. They'll be able to take their outpost back, and well, the worst case scenario was that they lost the top racks, but they end up only losing the tier 3 tower, so not too bad.
Find a good angle there this time around on NGX to force that fight out. Really good positioning out for Mizu this time to cut off the front line. And now they've got the opening for Roche. Even without the control, without their tier 3 and tier 2, they still got the angle into Roche, but the scan does spot them out, and the side of AG are pretty much fight ready if they want to force this.
Well, Void Spirit Illusion gonna get taken down very quickly here. Can I say quickly? It actually took them quite a bit of time. They still want the Roshan. Bashes out. Alacrity going to be very cautious. The ward already placed down as well. Mizu, thinking about the Rolling Thunder, does commit it. He'll see Wami. They'll go right after the Beastmaster, but the Overgrowth is going to be there as Mizu. He'll turn around again, but the Roar is out. DB going to take him down immediately as now he moves in. He's got Alacrity on the Templar Assassin. He's forced the BKB up. Meanwhile, the Hoodwink Jokam is gone. As In Your Dream, he needs to retreat ASAP. DB has that massive tree trunk moving in Your Dream. He's going to try and tank through it with the boat out. It's not going to be enough. He'll go for the TP, but it won't work either. Another cleanup from Army Geniuses, as they can take the Roshan themselves this time. And NGX.SEA, oh, they're in a bit of a rough position now, John. Very hard to defend against the Aegis on a Tiny. DB, he's going to be a very happy man for now.
He's gonna be able to have that secondary life free shard on the ground as well for Wami to pick up, for the Hawks to bomb themselves in. And all of a sudden, NGX, they had that opening for Roche. They forced the issue really hard. They were scanned out. They didn't manage to get a good angle into the roll. Mizu's just getting constantly cut off from the great overgrowths from Narman. Sure, it's really defensive use of the overgrowth, but you are preventing NGX from, again, working these team fights in their favor. And we're seeing just the side effect of Shadow Demon, who is put on a very sacrificial role. No shard, no Ags buildup, no defensive plans to play with here.
Rolling Thunder, Mizu gonna try and go onto DB. Won't really get too much damage off, and well, Varish is always gonna be there, and that's the frustrating part. Is DB's kind of constantly just have a walking fountain around him. They will back off though. They aren't gonna go too far. You don't want to really waste the Aegis when you're going high ground anyway. They might just try to get, you know, a pick off or two before they actually end up moving into that high ground once again.
They could gun for the bot settle towers first, Tier 1, Tier 2 still stands. Once they take that out, they could just play for Megas, and that could be the smart play, but they will go for the smoke instead. Going for that hunt you mentioned. Look for that pick off first.
Yeah, why not? DB gonna move in front lines here. Alacrity. Oh, they found Mizu. They have the Hawk Dive. Mizu, he does not have the Rolling Thunder. So he's gone without buyback for 50. And that should be enough time for Army Geniuses to at least clear out one Rax. They just need the creep wave.
Gonna have it with a siege creep being saved up as well. They do have the Ags build up here on Jocam, so a little bit more stat resist removal and some spell amp damage increase here. The Hunter's Boomerang up. Whether or not that's enough, it's a different question, especially since, again, the spell amp is kind of nullified by the Nether Ward anyway.
Very true. I guess it's kind of the point of the Ags in the first place, is to nullify the Nether Ward, excuse me. DB will cop the Bushwhack, but he's going to be okay. That'd be the top Rax gone. No contest here from NGX.SEA. They just can't fight without the Pangolier. Now Alacrity, he was spotted out. Can they get the stun in time?
Ooh.
Not quite. Wommy, mid-animation, just could not get it off. A millisecond away almost. There's Azura. He's going to see the Kunkka in your dream. He's going to get caught out. But they won't have the follow-up damage. So he'll back off. Just a bit of a warning shot there onto the Kunkka. And like you mentioned, John, if you are AG, you could just go ahead and suffice for the bot towers. And that's exactly where they may head.
Got the full AC up here. Still lots of time in that Aegis for DB. So they're going to go for the safe objective, start to set up for Mega Creeps. NGX being pushed back way too far now. The build-up is still coming out for Alacrity, but I think my issue stands here with Boomboy. It's just not being prioritized enough. He does have that Philosopher's Stone to give him that gold trickle, but no shard, no Ags build-up. It just feels like up against the team of AG, you need those defensive cleanses out. You need to be able to also have that utility with Demonic Purge on multiple heroes just to get the hold you want through onto DB, onto Azura, and with only one choice, it's really hard to work these fights your way.
Disruption barely saving the SD right there. Seems like DB looking to move in again. A nice tidal wave pushback on the Tiny. You might be able to find the Aegis now, as DB is going to drop. It's a great start. One life out for the Tiny as DB is forced to blink away. In fact, they jump in again, but Narman, he cops the stun. They might be able to take him down. In fact, never mind. In goes the jump in from Azura. He's got Boomboy already. The fight continues as they're on to Mizu now on the Pangolier, and they might just have him. Mizu, he's going to go for the fight for DB. He's got way too much damage. He's in your dream. He walked right in. Oh, boy. That wasn't it. They'll buy back. They'll try again. But if you're Army Geniuses, you're more than happy with the buybacks. That'll be enough. Like Narman. She ends up dying to Alacrity, but I guess it's not too big of a deal for AG.
Yeah, and they immediately smoke. NGX knows they've got to find more with these buybacks. Whether or not they catch anyone in AG is a different question. Azura can easily break the smoke and just step away. Again, the hold of NGX up against this Void Spirit's been middling at best. They just haven't been able to chain stun onto Azura well enough. Might find Wommy though.
Wommy's gonna pop the BKB, but that doesn't really save you against the TA. I guess he's not slowed up at the least. Would have indefinitely just meant he dies. Meanwhile, Azura takes the DD route, but now he needs a way out. He'll use the dissimulate. This is Azura forced the BKB up, and oh boy, they have so much damage.
I will trust.
Woo.
This was
Don't underestimate how hard Alacrity hits right now.
You know, that's a really big kill for NGX to find. Now they're satisfied with their buybacks. There's still a good lead here from AG, 7k up. Their Tiny's a massive issue, but NGX are still in the game. They are only one Rax down. They've still got this TA with a heck of a lot of damage coming in with Daedalus. They've just got to find that opening. They need to deal with a backline somehow, prevent the constant healing coming through from Varish, and kind of just prevent themselves from being caught out by the Treant. Easier said than done. Narman's positioning and his decision making with when to overgrowth whenever Mizu's rolling up has been pretty much on point. And again, there is time here where NGX can get the utility off. The big one is still Boomboy. We're looking for that Ags. We're looking for that Ag shard. Still a long ways off, but if we do stall long enough to hit that point, I think that's when the game really starts to feel manageable for NGX. Until then, they are always going to be on the back foot as AG. They've just shown us how good their coordination is. Again, this is a team that's stuck in Div 2. NGX is a team from Div 1, Mike, and AG didn't have the smoothest ride in Div 2 anyway. They cleaned up by the second half of that tour. It wasn't smooth going for the first few weeks, and the improvement, again, is just shining through even in this series.
Certainly agree with you, John. I mean, it is one of those things. Excuse me. The tiny now DB has the Satanic up. It's very scary times once again here for NGX.SEA. Is they're going to hang around the mid lane, maybe try to force a fight. DB is going to show up immediately onto Alacrity with a nice toss back. Alacrity, he's still alright. He's going to BKB up and try to get his way out of there, as he cannot man fight DB. NGX.SEA forced to retreat once again as the tidal wave gonna drag DB in, but a big jump in from Azura. They've got the Conquer in your dream, in trouble, trying to escape. Disruption will be there. The life drain on the Tiny, keeping him alive is in your dream. Another tidal wave back, trying to drag DB along with him. It's not gonna be good enough though. Azura in the meantime, he cleans up as the jump is back in, but Alacrity, he's gonna get punished immediately. And so will Mizu.
Yeah, this is scary. No buyback for In Your Dream. Buyback already forced out from Alacrity to deal with a high ground defense. Just him and Jokam against the world. Not feeling like a great time. Let's see what they can do. AG realizing that they've got this big advantage, but how strong DB is at the moment, should just be able to find everything they want. They could go for Megas, they could just pressure tier 4s if they want.
Absolutely. Army Genius is going to be the second lane of Rax gone. DB, he wants D4 towers. There's no buybacks. NGX.SEA, they may just have to call it. They may try one more time. It's looking real rough for an Alacrity. How do you jump in? He's going to try onto Narman. Azura's right there to back him up. Roar is out. They've locked him down. There goes Jokam. It's just Alacrity versus the world as he tries to kill off the Tree Protector, and he will get him, but it'll cost his own life. GG, well played, is the call from NGX.SEA. AG. It was a very rough start for game number 1, John, but they make it work.
Yeah, they play together so well as a team. They coordinate. They managed to recover. DB had a really rough time early on that game, going greedy for the farm down bot. Great punishment from NGX. But at a certain point, we need to see NGX start to work together as a team because they did not have the easy ways to initiate. All they really had was the rolls from Mizu. Narman counteracted that really well with Overgrowth, using it defensively to stop that angle from Pangolier. And every single time we saw that Rolling Thunder just fall flat, NGX couldn't deal with everyone else. That was their only backline jump, right? Like, you only had a Pangolier to take care of Varish in the backline, to stop that healing, and he just couldn't do it because of Narman's positioning, because of his use of the Overgrowth. And as well as that, Boomboy just never found a farm to even get the shard up. Like, you needed multiple demonic purges, multiple demonic cleanses to really sustain yourself up against the hold, all the great BKB piercing hold that you did have on AG's end, but they never could have prioritized Boomboy because of how rough that game went by the mid game there.
Absolutely not. We'll head into a very short break, John, and right after that break, we'll be back with Game 2 between Army Geniuses and NGX.SEA.